Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us on this particular show today. Of course, you know this is Focal Point, and I'm the anchor of this show, Emeka, the anchor of the show. Thank you so much for joining us. This is where we discuss issues happening around us, and you are aware that the political season is kicking up very well. A lot of political activities are coming up, a lot of interest is being discussed, a lot of political incidences are being discussed. And here now we'll be discussing another aspect of the development in and around Abia State. We'll be discussing with an honorable member representing the good people of the Isuikwuato State Constituency. We'll be looking at various issues as regards what he has been doing in the House of Assembly, how far, what is new, the political issues in the APC, which is the party is a member, and other issues that will come up through discussion. My name remains Emeka again, and I'm with in the studio today the person of Honorable Barrister Emeka Okorafor. Honorable. You're welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. We really appreciate it. You've been in the House of Assembly for about 3 years now, and I know you've had a lot of experiences, a lot of things has happened. Put up of speed, how has it been as a House of Assembly member in Abia State House of Assembly? You know I'm one of the constituents.
Yes. Well, that has gone to show that what we have in theory is really not what we have in practice when it comes to legislative executive relationship, especially at the state level, where the legislators do not enjoy financial autonomy. More or less, they look like the appendage of the executive. That is the reality, even though efforts are being made to give the legislator the needed independence that is required for them to perform effectively. If you look at the Constitution, it looks as if they are very independent. But in practice, one legislation needs you need to get numbers for you to put. It's been an experience, though we are in the minority. So many things you want to put through. Others who are not in your party, who are in the ruling party, will see it as an attack on the executive. But that's not the truth. Our work is not to. When you use probe, it sounds punitive. It's investigation, and we have these powers. The most effective job of the legislature is oversight, not even the lawmaking, because we have a lot of laws that are already in existence. So if it's not implemented and there's no clear oversight, you failed in that regard, and that's the problem with most houses of assembly in Nigeria.
So that's a good start up. Let us look at the House of Assembly from your angle as an opposition party member of the APC stock. Being an opposition in Abia State, is it interesting or is it stressful?
Well, it all depends on what you want. For me, it's all about service. And I do not just owe my responsibility to Isuikwuato, but also to the state, because I'm also part of the state. The opposition we have is very minimal, and with an overwhelming majority of the ruling party, which is the PDP.
Yes.
The truth of the matter remains that if you are owing somebody in my local government, you're also owing somebody in Open.
Okay.
There is no distinction when it comes to the suffering if the state is not doing well. So it has really not been what you want to push through. Some, they will agree with you that, yes, this is the right thing to do. But the interpretation of how they will look at them, the leadership of the party. So sometimes they will say, okay, let's see how it goes. Let us continue to party the executive. Let's see how
you can party along.
Yes, along. But the reality of it is that, the military regimes, you don't have legislation. That's the only thing that defines democracy. And no, especially now, a developing world like ours, no executive finds it funny with the legislature, because they want to have their way. They want to amass that power. They want to do that power. So that has been always been the problem, and Abia is not different.
How will you rate your assembly as regards oversight functions?
Well, it has been. I would say the assembly has been a bit stable. It has been Because
there have been complaints from the populace, from Abians, that the assembly is weak in terms of oversight functions. It's not doing its job as it's supposed to be, and it's not putting its feet on the ground. Would you allude to that, what the populace are saying?
Well, if I look at it from the angle of what the books are saying and what we see in advanced democracies, I would say we've really not done excellently. You know, we can't grade ourselves A. When you look at the circumstance and the environment, well, I would say we have to improve. I believe we need to improve.
Obviously, even to you, you know that you not. It seems as though you're not too comfortable with how much people have done.
The oversight has not been very. It's not something that people can rate us high.
Okay, let's not come.
We are trying our best.
Let's not come back to you. Of course, we are aware that the primary job of a legislator is lawmaking, oversight, and one other thing like that. Then, what have you been doing in terms of lawmaking? What have you been doing in terms of bringing to fore the problems of Isuikwuato Constituency and Abians at the floor of the House?
Well, like I've told you, that the problem is really not about lawmaking. That's not the problem in Nigeria. It's implementation, because if you look at the variety of laws, that sometimes if you ask the Attorney General, you may not even keep count of the laws. Those passed, those not passed, those assented to, those were not assented to. And I must tell you that because we don't have the Abia State House of Assembly Service Commission, the bill has been passed and assented to, but the commission is yet to be established. So you look at the Abia State Law Commission, they are not up to date since 2007. They've not been able to update people so that we know the laws that are in existence in Abia State. For me, I have partnered with most of the bills you always see are executive bills. They are in 100%. And these are the bills that emanate from the government because of their interest. You know, these to be sponsored by the leader of the house. Depending, because law is all about interest. And other ones are member bills. I think one has been assented to, only one member bill that I can recall, which is the Diaspora Commission bill, which the governor has so much interest in. I've also sponsored, it's still there. I know, I want to believe those two bills and others that will come. The Freedom of Information Law and the local government law that on local government, I will recall the name. You know, it's still before the house. That's two bills that I sponsored, and the other ones I've co-sponsored them. But the reality of it is that where we are lacking in this state is on the issue of putting the executive in check and making sure that things are rightly done. I think in that area, I won't score myself A. And I don't think Abians will agree if I score anybody A in that area of representation. But that does not to say that we are not trying the best we can. But given the circumstance of things, I don't think. I think there is room for improvement. And,
at a point in time, your House of Assembly was locked for months, and it didn't open. What transpired? What were the problems?
Well, this 7th Assembly, with I don't know, some have been man-made, some have not been man-made. In 2020, we shut down for nearly 7 months of the year because of COVID. And last year, this 2021, we reconvened in February, and before you know it, in March,
we shut down.
We shut down because the House of Assembly staff went on strike. And it lasted for about 5 months. And by the time we came back, it was our recess. By the time we came back from recess, it was PDF convention. Before you know, it was November, December. And again, we now have to reconvene again for in February. And I think sat for 1 or 2 times. And there was need for the house to be shut down again.
There was need? What was the need?
There were rumors of encroachments way or the other. There were rumors, and in order to forestall any breakdown of law and order, they have decided to take a wise decision of shutting down so that train nerves will be strengthened, and so that was what happened, and we just reopened.
Okay, still talking about your activities in the House of Assembly. Of course, you've talked about in terms of lawmaking, and you know that unfortunately in our political system here for lawmakers, the issue of infrastructure on ground has become one thing that most shouldn't be, but it has been something that people say, what have you done in the community? What have you attracted? What have you done? So people have been doubting that you've done anything in Isuikwuato. What exactly have you been able to attract in terms of infrastructure to Isuikwuato this period of 3 years?
Well, if you look at the work of the legislature, we cannot encroach on that of the executive. It's an aberration, but it's becoming something that the executive want to push, so that it look as if it's real. The job of a legislator is to make law, oversight the executive and the judiciary, and to represent where you have need of your state. You make it known that this is what our people need. That is the core responsibility of the legislature. The issue of project is not part of their work. At the federal level, yes, they were able to negotiate it that the executive in preparing the budget now makes provision for constituency projects. You don't have it at the state level, at least in Abia. There's no such provision. The best you can do is to lobby and have it in the budget. Then it's for the executive to now locate, because a budget without funding amounts to nothing. There are so many rules that I've made sure that they are there in the budget, and it keeps rolling from year to year. And I remember when Udogochukwu acted for a brief time, he awarded those rules, mainly in Uturu, but I think some have still been done. Then in terms of the ones that you can facilitate, yes, I facilitated one school in Acha, a 4-classroom block. The best, if you go to Asubeb, it's there, showing that that's the best. That's their flagship in Abia. It was me. I've done one also in Uturu, through community school. Also done the renovation they agreed to give to those of us from Abia North in Abia. So that's 3. And the ones I'm doing with my pocket money. I'm doing a market in Ezeri. I'm doing a school hall in Ozara. I'm also building a school in Abia Secondary School with my personal money, my savings. Because what I earn is salary. When people talk about constituency allowance, I said,
to the constituency allowance,
there's no such thing like constituency allowance. But to do what? It's not our job to execute projects, so no money is given for us. I don't earn any money to execute project. I don't earn any money for security. So I don't know where people, out of ignorance, some people are half-educated, and some people I see as migrants in Isuikwuato who are not properly Isuikwuato, making some statements. I don't subscribe to such people who didn't vote for you will continue to say rubbish, either because they don't know what they say, and you don't go low to join issues with such people. There is no such money. Whatever project I am doing as an individual, I'm using my own personal money. And that's why, if you look at those who are there before me, you won't point to any project they did, because it's up to you to decide to sacrifice your own comfort. I mean, there are people there before me.
Remember, you're saying that all those rumors of constituency allowances and project fund given to house members is not.
There is no such thing. You can ask the Accountant General of the state or the Commissioner for Finance or the Attorney General. There is no such provision. That's illegal. There is no such. I had in 6th house or 5th house where the governor may say, okay, pick out a project and I will fund it. No such thing has happened. If it has happened, not to my knowledge. The only one is that, okay, this is Asubeb funded by the federal, and you can say, cite it here and make sure that that in it. Those ones, that's been done. So that's why you can pick Ogele's 8 years, Mondaji. If there's any project they executed, she's sure. For me, the ones I could do, if you go to Akara, the street has been lightened. I don't think you can find it in any local government.
Is that from the federal government, state government, or
it's something I go through the federal government. So what I do is to partner where we have constituency project at the federal, And I've had a very good working relationship with the Federal House of Rep member and the Senate. If you go to Akara, you have over a kilometer of street lights, more than a kilometer. You go to Ukuwangu, you also have it. You go to Absu Junction, you have it. You go to Boro Junction, you have it. You go to Nkwanta, you have it. You go to Amaba, you have it. You go to Vim Junction, you have it. If we'll be having it these years, I don't think by now we would have gone somewhere. But also, made efforts, partnered with, and we've had the problem we've always had with the erosion menace in Isuikwuato. At the time, as a temporary measure, when it was difficult and our people had been kidnapped, I brought bulldozers and was able to grade that road and did a diversion. At the time where the potholes were also difficult, I had to get some materials to fill the roads. It's my personal money. I can't tar roads. I mean, where do you expect me to do that? If you see me using my money to tar roads, you should get the EFCC to arrest me. So I was able to fill those bad spots. I also attracted courts in Isuikwuato and built one in Ovim.
The court?
Yes. So we have customary court, one in Ovim, we have one in Nkwanta, and it generated employment. There's one that I'm still fighting because it was approved, but it has not taken off. One in Iloama, one in Omabela, one in Utru.
No one in Omasu.
Well, it covers, there's one in Amaba to cover, because we have zones. So there's one that will take off very soon in Iloama and Omabela. These are
those are customary courts?
Customary courts.
Okay.
We already have a high court. And the policy of the government, because we don't have, the autonomy is yet to take place in judicial, so they don't have a vote of their own, they don't have money of their own. So what they do is that if any community can be able to, give them a place where they can, and that generates employment. The little, when we came in, there was an employment going on in secondary education management, but I got over 20 people employed, but they were sacked by the same government. They were sacked, and these people have not been able to, when you don't have money, you don't go challenging, because this may take them several years. They were all sacked. Ask questions from Ahaba to Vim to Amaba to Maswa. People were employed and they were sacked. At the time, people were also employed at the local government. They were also sacked before we started having these a few that were just employed. So people have been employed at that customary court and few in the local government. So I don't know what anybody can say that things have not been done in this way. The market, I will invite you for the commission of the market. I will also invite you for the hall and the school in Ahmed.
Okay, let's look at insecurity. It has been a very serious issue in our axis, Isuikwuato, and I actually know when you actually raising your voice on these issues, and your voice was actually heard on that issue, even when you raise issue as regards the complacency of the military or something like that. So where are we at the moment in terms of insecurity?
Well, just like I said, one of the core responsibilities of the legislature is representation. When the issue of bad road, because that's one of the areas that insecurity will always strive. I brought the notion of matter of public importance and said, look, that there is this law in Abia State which we call the Joint Project Account Law. That law for me is fraudulent, where we contribute 60% of revenue that accrues to Isuikwuato local government to the general purpose. The law was well intended, but the execution and implementation, I am not completely satisfied with it, because I've asked, and nobody has ever challenged to say what I said was not true. What project have they used that money to execute in Isuikwuato in the last 10 years or in the last 15 years? And religiously, we've not defaulted in contributing to that project, because the intention is that, take this, if it is 50 million from local government, that was about 850 million. Why don't you do one project that is part has not benefited? And I requested that take part of this money, the ones that we contributed, and fix from where we come to Isuikwuato to Abia Junction. It's not more than 2 kilometers. Tie that place, and this insecurity will end. I said, look, I would have wished to bring down some of those economic trees where these people can hide and that. I mean, if I do it as an individual, they will attack me. But the government can use their coercive powers, which the law allows, to bring down this place and open this place so that people will not be kidnapped. They promised me, I had discussion with the BAMSEC Ministry of Works, I had discussion with the Chief of Staff, and they gave their word that they will move mentions. They brought one caterpillar that is so refurbished, and that thing did nothing. Nothing. If you look at that road, it has remained the way it is. I cried and cried over and over and again, and nothing came out of it. I complained about that. I said, look, Isuikwuato is defined geographically by those two roads. The one did by Nibisika over 40 years ago, and the one did by the former Senate president that crisscrossed Uturu. That was not. And I still repeat, apart from the 1 kilometer road from Oboro to Charles Ogoro's place, that's all that road that has been done in Isuikwuato by this state government. At least since the advent of democracy in this republic since 1999. If there is any, let them tell us. There is none. Government awarded contract for Otampa, Acha, Amiibo. Nothing happened. It was the same government. And when Odichito got into the leadership of, because that's what the essence of ranking in legislation. Even here we have what we call the green caps and the red cap. I'm still a green cap. You can't be a presiding officer if you are a green cap. You must have done 4 years, uninterrupted years, for you to aspire to become either a presiding officer in some of those positions. So when the opportunity came, I said, look, there is one road I passed through. You can recall, Amiibo Road, that we need to do something about it. And that road has been done. I spoke about that in Ward 5. I said, okay, I didn't even come to my own ward. Because I come from a village that, to a large extent, we enjoy certain advantages. Because we've had 2 governors from my village. We've had a chief of family staff. So let us think of how to improve on other communities. We moved into Otampa. And to a large extent, there's nobody who will say, I can't get into Otampa now. You know, apart from, for me, I still believe, if you want to give us road, please give us quality road. So that is why I'm also believing that the one that is going to Omaswa will also enjoy such quality. And I've always insisted. You really have any issues already? The one that I've always insisted that every community that discovers that the quality is not being maintained, the community should petition and resist it, because it's something that doesn't come so often. And the issue of, I don't think we've had it as good as we are having it in this since 2019 with the partnership that I have with those of us at the federal level. People have been there before, and that, in fact, there was one I even had to personally write a petition to give to Nigeria to ensure that whoever is in charge of that rural Igoli erosion, who every year you always divert, and that place has been done. I take my time, go to those places, monitor them, and make sure these things are done. So I don't think anybody will want to take us back to Egypt. Isuikwuato is moving, and I know by this 2020 or 22 budget, more communities will also benefit in terms of roads.
So, in the insecurity angle now, recently we've been having some kind of quiet.
Well, the truth of the matter is that we have complained, and at the time I had brushes with the military, because I must say the truth. That's my job, to represent. So even so many persons we are not very comfortable with my taking out of outburst, but it was true, because I remember the DMI showed interest, and they know what I said was true, and I had evidence that there is compromise here and there. But yes, it might affect my friendship with some persons, but look, if you say the truth, you die. You don't say the truth, die. Let me say the truth and die.
Okay, let's look at your party. Your party in the state, Abia State APC, which you are a full member of, and which you are on their ticket in the House of Assembly at the moment, and which you've also gotten their ticket to run again for that same position. Are you factionalized? Do you have factions? We know a faction has the office at Azikiwe Road. We know another faction has an office. What is happening?
When you talk about, I'm a lawyer, you talk about faction where there is a little of legitimacy in any group. You can, if there's no legitimacy at all, There is no faction. I always tell you, when I joined the APC in 2018, Ikechi was on this other side. And I looked at the law. Who organized the executive that is on Honorable Mampa's side? And it was the national. There is no state party. Party is national. What they have is chapters. And National Working Committee, if they send people to go and organize congresses, it is that product that you call the structure of the party. I'm aware, I asked question, even as this one was emerging, are we not going to have faction? They said you only have faction where if a 7-man committee is sent and 2 decided to go here and 5, but the 7-man committee all were intact. Both at the World Congresses, the local government congress, the state congress, even when the chairman then, who was produced around October, also died, they did a special congress. So there is no faction. Forget about what people who are illiterate and ignorant of the law will say. There is none.
So there is no faction.
There is no faction.
The only faction,
it's in the imagination of
party leadership we know is that of Dr. Nobu. That's the leadership we know.
That's the thing.
So this Azikiwe branch is just a branch of.
That was a former office.
That's a former office.
It was legitimate before that Congress.
It's no longer legitimate.
Yes.
Okay. Now another question again is that because people ask me this question, so I should ask you also. Which primary held in Abia, is it direct or indirect?
Well, let me tell you.
Yes.
What transpired that I personally attended when there were, efforts to bring people who felt they were marginalized in the congresses that held. I wouldn't want to use that word. They feel they were marginalized, but if you didn't participate, I don't think whatever rights has been afforded you. And they came with 3 demands. That they want the schools to the structure to be, dismantled and the caretaker committee, and they lost all. There was no basis for direct primary in Abia. What they did was that the Benue State was asked for direct. They made a request. The executive of the party, not faction, the executive requested for. And when that letter was being prepared, somebody smuggled Abia State.
Okay.
And remember, this thing was happening a day on the 25th. And the electoral act is very clear that you give 21 days notice. And where if there is any change, you give 7 days notice. Because if you want to do direct primary, it has to be done in the various political worlds. In various political worlds. It's not something you don't aggregate somewhere. Like some people said they did a direct primary in a township stadium. You see where direct primary was done. When Uchoga was elected in direct primary, was there any convergence in any way? It was done at the political wards of 184 wards. So there was no such thing. And when the man discovered that Abia was included, he wrote a rebuttal immediately and said, look, that was not intended. And that letter to the national chairman, he never meditated on it. Because you need to direct. You need to direct.
But the letter we saw both signatures. No,
I'm talking about the letter. That letter was sent to INEC chairman.
Okay.
If such thing comes to INEC national chairman, he will mean it to ask. He will direct rec in Abia. There was no so he didn't even see it. The rec, I think at the time wanted to play a game to collect money, and he collected money and has reversed it. The truth of the matter is that all the EOs in all the local governments said what we conducted was an indirect primary because there was a delegate election.
You seem as if you're implicating the rec here. Wow. Did he play any role in all these shenanigans?
Yes, he tried to cause confusion, but he has collected the money he wants to collect from them.
And he's gone now?
He's gone now. He knows he's going.
Okay, so now, who is your gubernatorial candidate? Is it High Chief Emenike or is it Dr. Chuchu Samsonoga, former minister?
I don't know if UJG contested for governorship because he didn't participate in
the direct primaries.
There was no direct primary. But it is the party.
Okay.
It is not INEC that conducts primary election. It is the National Working Committee that will send people who will do that. There is a committee. You see, for some who have gone to court, I know they are trying to, you don't cover facts, the court will deal with you. Who conducted? Can I just wake up one day and start conducting election for myself? No. The National Working Committee sent people who came here, conducted an indirect primary, and they've sent their report back. I'm a product of indirect primary, and all the names you see in INEC today are product of indirect primary.
Okay, let us go into another issue. Now you are on the ticket again for APC to run for that same state constituency, Isuikwuato state constituency, for the second time. Is there something new you want to tell the Isuikwuato people that you are going to bring to the fore when you go back to the house?
I want to sustain and improve on what we've been able to do. The second phase of the erosion project is on. It will cover with some roads. Remember that the road from Isuikwuato to Absu has been awarded, and they are on site. I'm sure it will soon start and they will complete it. And the other erosion site, both in Abia, both in Ikami and other places, will also be dealt with. More communities will have roads. And I'm also believing, because there are so many things I've asked that the state government, because I'm coming from the position, has refused to heed to. So many, especially on social intervention that has been coming to state. Anybody has not benefited from it in Isuikwuato and in most places. And Buhari government, if there is no other place they've done well, if there's no other place that the Buhari government has done well, it's on this social investment. Where is the impact in Abia State? What reason do we have?
40,000 women were given some agricultural loan, which they shared in the state here.
For how many came to Isuikwuato?
That I don't know. Usually,
so that's the problem. In fact, at the time in one of the budget sessions, I said, look, I told the then PAMSEC of particular ministry that was handling that. The woman told me, look, I'm retiring today. That they don't know where that money goes to. Because they said they are paying it is a cash transfer, they give it. I said, can I have a clip? And have numbers of people I can call to ask. Because the reality of it is that every day in Abia State, employment is being given. Who are these people that have been employed? What section? There are so many.
Honorable, we're not going to discuss so many of these things today. We have a lot of things to discuss. And then when our program is timed to be 40 minutes for now, we'll have other interactions. But on a final note, I want to ask you this, which is also very important for my people. You promised us a project in my community. You promised us to give us water. And up till now, we're not in the water.
That was an intervention from you.
Yes, of course. You didn't promise.
And when you came was during the...
You didn't promise. Well,
that was during the... That was when we were having our primaries. And I need to... you must get the land before you can take off the chair. So now that finally,
yes,
tomorrow is 15, so my name is there. I'll do it. I still have 10 months to go. I'll do it. I told you, best for you, I will do it.
Okay, remember, we're going to talk again. We have a lot to discuss. We can't unravel everything today. It's going to be a series of discussion. But thank you so much for coming to the studio today. Yeah. I deeply appreciate your opportunity for coming to the studio. Thank you so much, our viewers. Thank you for being loyal to us and for following all our social media handles. Our website, www.afnews.ng, is there. Our Twitter handle, very viral Twitter handle. You can always follow us on all our handles, Instagram, YouTube, which you're going to see all the videos of all the latest interviews we've been conducting in this our platform. We thank you so much. And of course, you heard from the honorable member. It's up to you to make up your mind on so many others. More interactions will come with time. Thank you very much. My name is Emeka, the anchor of the show. Thank you and God bless.